All right, folks, we are live. First time ever. So I had a bunch of people lined up and scheduled. I've sent out all my invites. So now it's just a matter of waiting for people to show up so that we can start getting this thing rolling. This is exciting stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Exciting stuff. We have been live for 1 minute and 9 seconds, and nobody has shown up yet. We did have one special guest pop in, pop out. He'll be back. That would be everybody's favorite font maker, Force FX Saber Sounds. Well, let's send out some messages to find out where everybody's at. Just to see what's happening. Well, if it's just me sitting here live for however long, this is not going to be very thrilling for all of you that could potentially be watching. Oh, we got 2 people watching. Oh, the viewership just doubled. Viewership just doubled. All right. Hey.
Hello. Wait. I got to do it like Jim Carrey. Hello.
So now that we're actually rolling,
What's cooking, my Jedi brother?
so this guy can be found as Force FX on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Check him out.
And
all of his fonts can also be found on Repulse Collectibles.
and check this guy out right here, all over Instagram and Facebook because he's the bomb.
I appreciate it.
You know I love you, man.
Right? It's mutual respect. So
That means he doesn't love me back.
Oh, I love you, you big sexy teddy bear. So I sent a message to Selman, asking him if he's going to jump on. Mike's going to try and jump on.
Heck yeah.
I've sent the invites to everybody, so
very cool.
We'll see where this goes.
Heck yeah, dude.
So
talk to the audience. Tell us what it is you are doing with the mind tricks and the stuff.
So
give us the big intro.
So our it's going to be a collaboration between Ninja Jedi Order and myself. Most of you know him previously as Star Wars Haven 77. We are going to be interviewing font makers, installers, saber companies. We have yourself lined up. We have Link. We have Daryl, Dante's Custom Saber Designs. We have the Real Jakku Junk Trader. We have Adam Days. We have Chris Adams from Adams Custom Sabers. And we also have reached out to and enlisted Rob Petcow of Genesis Custom Sabers and Mad Cow.
Let's go.
Right. We got Dave Craswell from Electrum Sabercrafts, the owner.
You know, I was curious.
And
what's up, bok choy?
and then we have this guy. He can be found as the Real Jakku Junk Trader on Instagram. He has a website, therealjakkujunktrader.com. Custom saber builder, box builder, you name it, this man's done it.
Sometimes in my sleep. I didn't know if I was going to make it. I was doing I just installed a new dishwasher in the house.
When you should be here installing a dishwasher in my house.
That's no problem. I'll be down there. We go out. You take me out to dinner with hamburger for you, and then I installed a dishwasher. It's very nice.
No. You're missing the point. You
have your own house.
My house.
I got that. I heard it. I'm very proud of you, my son.
So we've got Mike in the comments right now.
Man.
So he'll
he'll
join us.
Where's Adams?
He'll be here. I hope.
Can. Well, I sent him the invite.
He's working out, probably. So I showed you some pictures. I shared you some pictures of a Revan that we're working on.
Me or this guy?
I think I shared both of you. Did I show you, Jeff?
Possibly.
A digital image on the screen, maybe, possibly.
I saw it. I thought it was, yeah, you know.
No, so you have not sent that to me.
I had nothing to compare that to. So is it more like the KR? Is it more like the Victor? What is it?
Okay, one of my issues with all of them is if you read the comic books or you look at the comic books, Revan is like this super, Chuck Norris badass, and his saber is like, massive, like he's holding it and it's like a staff, comes down to about here. And,
right.
KR makes a really nice version, but my issues with that saber is that it doesn't break here. You remember this one. This is an LDM Knights of the Old Republic Revan, which is kind of prototypical. The first night I met Aaron, I was at his house and I was picking up something to install for him, and he takes this and he's whipping it around like a Jedi Knight, and it flips out of his hands and goes about 15 feet in the air and comes down blade first. And he's like, well, I guess if it can withstand that, it could withstand just about anything.
Right.
And I like it, but I don't like it. There's just issues. I don't like, the lines are okay, whatever. I love this part of it because it's wide. It's missing that second flare, which is okay because the Knights of the Old Republic one didn't have it. It's got extended buttons, which the Knights of the Old Republic does. But the pommel is kind of weak. It's just in line with the hilt, and I don't like that. I think it should be bigger. Which leads me to this one, which is, which has a very cool font on it. It's they both have CFX. This one is my relic version, It was my introduction to electroplating.
That's
So
crazy.
I wanted it to be like you found it in the desert, you know. And it's actually it's copper. It's copper plated, but I used basically like a engine goo, you know, that stuff that we assemble engines with.
Right.
So you know that's kind of a Vaseline, really, right? So just stopped it from adhering. So I got this broken type of copper on it, which is what I wanted, and then the same down here, which I did a saltwater etch on, and just kind of came up with an idea with the House of Revan. And then Aaron, in our infancy, I haven't. By the way, I haven't charged this saber in like over a year, and it's still at half. Aaron made this font for me, and I'll try to get it closer to the mic.
Gotcha.
And when we did this font, I had to tell a story. It was really cool. A friend of mine, Bear, did, you know, the guy from Seinfeld, the guy who plays the crazy guy with the hair. He does his house, and he's doing tile for him because Bear was a tile guy. And he walks in and he says, I want a bathroom that I will die in. And that Bear's like, okay, but what do you want design-wise? What would you like? And he's like, no, you don't understand. I don't care. I just want to die in it. And so Bear's like, okay, like that doesn't give me anything to go on. So he creates this bathroom for him.
Right.
And it's all tile. These tile from ceiling to floor. It's all tile. And he walks in and he says, that's really good, but it's not enough. I need more. And Bear's like, it's tile. It's not like wallpaper. You can't change this. He's like, how much is it going to cost? And he's like, $60,000, $70,000. He goes, here's a check for 100. Rip it all out and redo it. I want more.
Right.
So Bear's like, okay. You know, he's thinking he's got other jobs lined up, and he's like, this is nuts, you know. Rips it all out, redoes the bathroom, comes in it. He says, it's too much. I want it dialed out. And he had to have this entrance. You know, like the curtains drawn, and then he walks in, and then you know. So when Aaron was like, "How do you want this Revan to sound?" and I'm like, "I want it to sound evil."
Right.
And he's like, "Okay." I'm like, "But I want it to sound purple at the same time." And if you're a musician, you know, like when musicians really want to mess with a sound guy, that's the best way of doing it. It's not purple, mate. You know? So
right.
he created the font, and the first time he sends it to me, I'm like, dude, it needs more hissing. It needs more cackling. I want it to be like the Darth Raya that he's got, that's got this amazing background crackle, like static electricity just ripping through the air. And I said, I want something like that, but I want the growl of like a Dooku. You know, that metal, you know, in the background.
Yeah.
And so he comes back the second time, and it was good. I said, nah, it needs more evil. And then the third time when he did it, it was perfect. I mean, and he's modified that a little bit for what he sells right now,
right.
As the Revan, which I think and he asked me, he's like, can I use that? And I said, absolutely. You know, I mean, something like that needs to be shared. I used them on the Korribanth Revans that I installed, which were the KR Revans.
Gotcha.
All of them got my font. And I installed, I don't know, probably about 50 of those. That's another thing. The KR Revan, it's a beautiful hilt, but when you put the chassis in, you've got these metal plungers that don't have anything holding them in place. So you've got to have them kind of on the bottom, and then slide the chassis in and make sure the pins meet the plungers, you know, for the, what do you call it? And don't ever touch anything metal on the top of it, because you got live pogo pins.
Right.
Once you pull a kill key, that sucker's live. So the one that we're designing is going to have a larger larger section here, a very large section here. As it comes down, this is going to be beveled but large. It's going to be tighter, a little bit tighter in the lines. As it gets to this point, it's going to be actually hourglassed, and then the buttons will be vertical.
Okay.
Then it'll have a long centerpiece, and the pommel is going to be more Kenobi-ish, where it's going to have a larger pommel and a hidden speaker vent.
Nice.
So
Very nice.
that was my thought on it, and it's all going to be machined here in America. So I can
Excellent.
honestly say that because they're made here in Montana.
So Chris Adams just saw he just came online on Instagram, so he should be joining us shortly. So for those of those people out there that don't know really your background, give them a little short rundown on how you got into this and where you came from. And
Okay.
And I know that's a loaded question.
I was a poor white child in the South, growing up on chitlins and collard greens. I have an extensive background with electrical, anything electrical.
Right.
Back in the 80s, I was doing quality control and calibration for Honeywell. So I've got a degree in sound engineering, and then I'm also, which we talked about before, as a Master Tech certified with Audi, Porsche, Subaru, Rolls-Royce, and Citroen, and Volkswagen.
Right.
And I wrote tech buildings. I got into the hobby about three, maybe 4 years ago, probably closer to 4. I just building my own stuff. And then everybody was doing videos, and I figured, let me do that too. I just thought it was fun. A really good friend of mine used to have a channel, City of Sabers.
Okay.
And I think out of all the people that were out there, he was probably the most unbiased. He would measure the hilt, and he would go over its features, but he would never say that one was better than another. You remember Sid? And
Vaguely.
And Sid to me was the biggest influencer of me. And he pushed me into doing my own installs, and pushed me into doing, better, and
right.
I miss him, I miss him in the community. I think he was a positive influence on a lot of people.
Right.
Shamim was around. I never got along with Shamim. Every time I've asked him a question, he was really pompous. And I thought that was the wrong approach to people that are just joining the hobby and coming into it. I think you want to help those people and let them and nurture them through it. The same with flying model airplanes. That was another one of my hobbies, and scale is definitely my forte. And when guys would come in, Aaron, I told the not evil enough story.
Did you really?
Yes, I did, and you blacked out for it. So
I didn't. I had to run over to Kyber Cave because they wanted a sound check.
Yes, this man is going to be guest spotting on Kyber Cave at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time.
That's epic.
So I'll be in about 45 minutes. I got to run there, and then I'm hoping you guys run late tonight here because, it's us.
Right? What are we if not an epic 7-hour StreamYard?
Oh,
yes, why not?
God.
Right?
You want to build a lightsaber? I show you how. So, so I started with NeoPixel. NeoPixel was the first thing that I installed. and I never really got into the Tricrete. I used to modify, my own master replicas when that was a thing. Before the boards came out, that I started back then with getting rid of the string blade and putting a Luxan LED in it. That was so me and my kid could go and beat each other around with it.
Right.
And then I got out of it, and then when I came back into it, it was and I'll even say this: it was my first conversations with the Saber company was Vader's Vault, and I bought one. I had a hero. It's definitely not even close to the MOM, but I had them install it, and I was fairly new. I wasn't really doing my own stuff, and then I just decided to buy a Romans and a Balance V4, and I installed it myself, and not even knowing that I was the first person to use shorter pins. Nobody even thought about using shorter pins before on a thin neck. I didn't realize it at the time. How I got with Cora bands was afterwards I installed a bunch of Kenobis for myself. I got a bunch. I was doing Graflexes for him,
right?
Just like on the side, and doing Tricrete because that's what he wanted. And but he was my second Saber that I bought. But mind you, I got his way before I got my Vader's Vault. I had a Crystal Reveal Graflex 2.5 that I got from him that Michael Maldonado built for me, and I don't even know if Michael's around anymore. I'm not even talking about in the community. He had some really bad health issues in the Philippines, and he just disappeared. And I started doing, Nano Biscotti was the big thing, Every new board that comes out is always the latest, greatest, best thing in the world,
Right.
Right. But I think we've reached a plateau with CFX and Profi and the Profi 3.0. I think that's going to be the end of all, because, I mean, at this point in the game, they all do so much. I mean, CFX is kind of becoming really limited with what Profi can do.
You and I were speaking about that previously, and you were really playing up the Profi 3, and I know it's gonna be disgusting, but I mean, truthfully, the only direction I can see it going from here is the tech getting smaller and the power getting larger and the pixels getting brighter, and it's gonna be more software and firmware, before the end. I mean, comparatively speaking, if you're looking at laptop chips and mobile device chips and game consoles, like, the tech is getting smaller and smaller, but it's becoming more and more powerful. Right. So it brings about a good question: when is a stopping point? And I honestly, as far as hardware is concerned, we're probably going to see that soon. As far as software is concerned, I don't really know. Judging from the fact that these boards, they read off of an SD card, you're not really going to get much faster until we start using boards that have the fonts and the configs and everything flashed onto the board itself, and that's instantaneous access. You're not going to have delay. You're not going to have problems of the board trying to access information into the SD card and get it back, where a lot of things screw up. And you started to see it on the early rendition of the Golden Harvest, where a lot of the boards were having a problem accessing certain SD cards. You feed that thing an SD card, it's gonna rock for days. You feed it the wrong SD card, and it's gonna go goofball on you. That's not Frederick's fault. That's just the different SD card makers it's different tech. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not blaming anybody. But you got to feed the machine the right tech for it to do what it needs to do. But eventually, we're going to get to a point where we're just going to be flashing this stuff straight onto the boards.
Well, in a lot of instances with Profi, I mean, 90% of the OS, the operating system, is already flashed. And I think with V3, I think the idea is it's going to be like a random cache where you would put it on the SD card and it would read it, but you can also flash it directly to the board. But the thing that's awesome with the Profi V3 and the V4 and the V2 is that you've got all these extra data lines. But what a lot of people don't understand is that each pixel is addressable. So if you know your pixel count, like say you want to go run up a blade and then you want to have flashing lights in the hilt, you can do that with Profi. If you know your pixel count on your blade, you could run it, and then when it gets back to here, run one data line all the way back and make two LEDs do 2 pixels do whatever they want. You know, that's what blows me away with Profi, and that's the one thing that is lame about CFX. Yeah, they got all these accent LEDs, which is cool. You got 16 of them you can play with, but there's only one extra data line. So the only thing that thing is capable of right now is making one crystal or a pixel mimic whatever the blade is doing, and that's really a big thing when you've got Profi and even Golden Harvest that have, you know, NeoPixel sequencers built into their boards. Right. You know, that becomes an issue. That becomes a real big issue, and I understand why. I think it's because of we'll use it as a certain company who primarily only uses CFX. They're just very narrow-minded, and they didn't want to help create it. Matter of fact, I can recall some of it being in some of the beta rooms, very adamant about not having certain features on CFX. They should have had it. You know, it's now coming into play where, you know, it's quite possibly we'll have a CF11 to kind of compete with what's going to happen with Profi and even Golden Harvest. The thing that blows me away with Golden Harvest was on the original beta boards, the red was really red. And then when they updated the software, the algorithm changed and it became more of a pink red. But the original, the first one that I installed, was the red was like ungodly red.
So then let me ask you an opinion. Once the Profi 3 comes, is anything else going to be relevant to you? I mean, is any of it, like, would you chase the CF11, or would you just stick with the Profi 3 because it'll literally do everything?
My beginnings and my love has always been with CFX. You know, 90% of my hilts have CFX in them, and the reason being is they're easy to program.
Yeah.
You know, Profi to me. Go ahead.
Jeff, don't let me host your show. This is my job tomorrow. This
right?
is your job now.
Well,
don't let me do this.
Well, I mean, we can kind of just let Darth Eddie's in the room.
He's everywhere you want to be.
He is. Yeah. So there's like the limits of what's coming out. I mean,
you're basically unlimited.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? The more technology they put into Profi, the more things it can do. The greater possibilities you have for putting fonts on, and I mean, you don't even have to. We're going to get to a point where you're not even going to need an SD card. You just put it directly on onto the Saber.
And you know, it's I kind of thought when they were talking about that with CFX, you know, having the USB, be able to access the board, I thought that would be the route that they were heading. You know, that's another pet peeve of mine with installing, by the way, is having the SD card up and the USB down, where you don't have access to either of them.
Right.
One of the things that Chris is really adamant about, and I'm always on his case about, is there has to be access to both. When we're designing a chassis, we need to have access to both, unless it's like the Shelf Queen, unless it's like something that's going to sit on a shelf that you're never going to really play, want to adjust, because once it's loaded, and you can do it, but it's not something you're going to want to do every other day.
Well, and I mean, realistically, the guys that are going to have the quote unquote Shelf Queen sabers are generally like, I wouldn't personally have one installed, because the minute you have it installed, you want to play with it, right?
Yeah.
So and that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, you've had some experience with Electrum, right, Chris?
I have
heard about them. So
I love their work.
So I mean, this is theirs, and you've got your speaker in the bottom,
right?
And then on this side, you have your USB charging port and your kill switch for deep sleep, and then completely 180 degrees, right in here is your SD card, right? And you just essentially unscrew the pommel, and everything's super accessible.
And that's what you want, it's but certain hilts we'll take this, right? The Inception. This has got, so we've got that, right? You can see that.
Right, yeah. I'll just put you center stage for a minute here.
So we have the crystal chamber in the top half of it. And then on the bottom, you have the kill key.
Right.
And then Chris made this beautiful plug. So we have a plug on it. And then if you unscrew this, which to do that, I gotta need an Allen key. I don't have one here. You unscrew the, take 2 turns off of the CoverTech wheel, and then this will unscrew. And then you have access to the board, which sits about here. And you've got both access to both of them. The person that owns this one, I know will never touch it. He'll never, ever reprogram it. The way it is the way it is, and that's the way he wants it. He owns 1 million sabers.
Right.
And so I like people like that. I also want to give a shout out, and I have to. I don't know if he's here, but he will be. Saber Foundry. He's new, fairly new, on Etsy. This is his brassy wand.
Okay.
Dude, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. And it's fairly inexpensive, and it's all hand machined. And it has decent weight to it. Installation's going to be a breeze.
Right.
Comes apart in different sections. If you notice, you're not hearing a squeak, 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 squeak. It's all brass and really high quality aluminum. I'm really impressed with his work, and I look forward to doing some work with him, because it's just a really cool piece. I dig stuff like this because it's unlimited. You could brass black it, you can weather it, you can weather the aluminum, you can rough it up, you can make it a relic, you can do anything to this. So you can polish it out and make it absolutely gorgeous.
Jeremy's
what's up,
in
Jeremy?
the house.
We were just talking about you Canadians, eh?
Well, and I mean, you and I have talked about the fact that you're doing crystal chambers in your sabers, and how they're functional with the blade in as well. So, like, this is my Electrum. Don't get me wrong, I love this saber, but that crystal chamber that you see there is a blade plug, and it's not what I expected. I wish there was more to it. So, and I mean, that's like the ultimate.
You know, I like the fact that they did that, by the way.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I'm never touching that thing again.
I'm the only one on right now.
I am a Jedi. This is General Kenobi. The Force is from you. At last, we resolve went over my helmet.
Jeremy, if you want to jump on, I sent you the StreamYard invite. See, and that's awesome, right? See, it's a fully functional crystal chamber.
What I did, Jeff. So this is from Ray Fleet, and it's basically like a kit. You know, you get it and it's raw. There's nothing in the chamber. This is all hand machined, and I don't know if you can see this, but there's set screws here and here that will pull this top piece down. This will actually collapse into here. These are set screwed in. These are brass that I machined on the lathe. This is heat sinks and all stuff that I came up with in the kitchen sink. Nice. There's 2 set screws that hold that bottom piece in. That lifts up. The NeoPixel sits here, and above it is a plate of LEDs. So you've got 2 color changer 5mm, and then you've also got a flash behind it. So once it gets powered, they start up. And then you get that from the ignition. Plus, I did the Stoke PCB, and then I made a blade plug out of brass. And I love this hilt. Like, it's one of my favorites. And I love the font because Aaron made it.
Did you see anything? No, sir. I didn't see you playing with your dolls again. Good.
It's actually one of my favorite fonts, like, of all time.
And I love that movie. That movie does not get enough love.
No, and you know, and I didn't have to twist his arm that hard for him to make that font, and I'm glad he did.
Not.
I'm glad he did.
It's your fault that I made it.
Well, it's good that it's my fault. I'll take total credit for that. It is the most fun thing to swing that around and have him go, it's just, it cracks me up every time.
Right.
It's a ridiculous font.
I need to watch that movie again so bad.
Aaron, look at the screen. Look at the screen. I'm working on it, just to let you know.
Is that my baby?
Yes, it's getting etched. It's going to be. It's coming. It's a lot of little picking, but it'll be fine.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's awesome.
And then I'm working on this, which is I got a bunch of these. This is for a certain person though. It's a Star Killer from 7 Chambers.
Very nice.
And weather in the bottom of it. I'm going to do electroplating on this with copper. See how it comes out. I'm actually going to I'm going to kind of do the same thing as the Relic I did on this one. And then I got medieval with the torch, and the emitter I heat treated.
That looks awesome.
So I really dig this. I was really happy with the way that came out.
I love when guys take and do bluing on metal for effect.
I like it. But on certain things, it looks really good. On other things, it looks... The Star Killer, if you look at the concept art and all the artwork, it's blued. It's like destroyed. The saber looks like it's just hacked.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing that you end up seeing with Kylo Ren's saber, right? when he turns it into the cross guard, it's got all that bluing on the cross guards. Yep, just like that.
This was done by Sean Patterson. He did an amazing job weathering that.
That looks really nice.
I haven't installed it yet. I have another one I'm repairing for a person, and this is going to be on my Shame on You page because that's not 22 gauge wire, and it's split right here where it hits metal. They heat hot glued a section of it here, which I've got bare and exposed wire. That's not 22 gauge, but they go into the side quillions, which is kind of okay. But the main beef was this is your main blade, and that doesn't have 22 gauge wire on it either. So, what was happening with this is these were shorting out. And it was shorting the data to the chassis. I mean, to the frame. So, and that was a Corbett install. And the kid got ghosted from them too, which is, it's kind of bad. It's sad. You know, we're not talking about a $200 or $600 or $500 help. We're talking about almost $1,000 on a KR crossguard.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then the kids got problems with it, and then we just turn our back on people. Mike already knows this, but I'm not charging him to fix it. I can't in good conscience. He's a good person. He's got a lot of problems right now. He's dealing with a lot of financial issues because of his grandfather passing away. And I won't charge people like that. You know, I'm not here for the money. I'm here because I enjoy doing this. When I stop enjoying it, I'm not going to do it no more. You know, and no matter what the community says or does, it doesn't faze me because I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. Right. You know, and that's one of the things I love about Aaron. We're real. You know, another kid asked me for a save. He's like, I really want an MK1 with the crystal chamber and you know, I don't know what I can afford. I said, well, how about this? He's going to college. I said, you show me your grades at the end of next quarter. And if your grades are where they should be, then we'll talk about making a deal. You know,
which is awesome, right?
I don't know how to do it any other way.
Right.
You know, people, we're here for people, right? That's one of my favorite lines in A Christmas Carol. Actually, in any book, there's A Christmas Carol when Jacob Marley's talking to Scrooge, and he says, mankind should be our business. He says, you were in the business of making money. You were a good businessman. He said, mankind should have been my business.
Right.
And that's, I think, what we're here for in this world. You know, that's just my take on it.
Right. So
now, if you ever get your butt to Florida, there's a burger place by Aaron's. It's called, what is it, Burger Bar that we go to?
Square One.
Square One Burgers?
Nice.
Dude, this place.
Burgers that I've ever had.
Yeah, definitely up there. I mean, hands down, they're all gourmet style burgers. Your way.
And I mean, our plan is we're planning a trip for December down there, depending on what happens. Right now, with kids not being able to be vaccinated, we may end up doing this trip and have to have them quarantined for 2 weeks post-trip. So, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with the missing 3 weeks of school. My wife, on the other hand, is not so thrilled about that.
Can they do school from home? Like, do they have access to the online teaching?
And I mean, that's always a possibility too, right? So, but we're definitely going to look into that.
What about having them quarantined? What about having them vaccinated stateside?
I don't know if we can do that technically.
Vaccine's a vaccine, isn't it?
Right. and it might be something to look into for sure. But I know Aaron does this with everybody that's on his streams, and I don't think I've actually heard. Oh, Cole Weathers. Cole is one of those other guys that's everywhere you want to be.
Cole, come on, dude.
Cole is super supportive. Cole is killing it. Just roll up to his CVS.
Just roll to CVS. Right. Yeah, you don't have to be American. You just walk in there and be like, "Hey, man, stick me."
Right.
And they got people ready to go.
So I don't think I've ever actually heard. Well, I have heard, but I don't think maybe there's some people in the room, probably not, that haven't heard Aaron's definitive Star Wars moment. What got you into Star Wars as a kid?
Oh my Lord!
You're putting it on me.
I'm asking you, what is your definitive Star Wars moment? And then of course we'll ask Chris. Will be the freaking StreamYard.
It's okay. I got you. I see where you're headed. Speaking about Chris, where's the other Chris?
Chris, he actually messaged me saying that he's with family right now, but he'll try and jump on in a bit. So, all
right, gonna hold him to it.
We're gonna hold him to it.
All right. So the definitive Star Wars moment. So, my grandmother, she had, thanks to the help of my father, so many movies videotaped, recorded off of HBO. And back then, when HBO had family-friendly movies on Friday, Saturday night, back then you had movies like Big with Tom Hanks, and they had rights to play the Star Wars trilogy. And one night, just for fun, Grandma wanted to get Return of the Jedi, so she did. Eventually, we ended up with that recorded VHS tape at the house, and I popped it in, and I was watching, and I loved it, and of course the lightsaber was my favorite part. It still is. And I remember watching the crap out of that tape. And eventually, my father ended up getting me the original Star Wars trilogy, the remastered version, as a triple VHS set, and I watched the crap out of those. But I would say age 9, age 10 was about the time, my love for Star Wars began with Return of the Jedi. That was it. That was the time. 30 years ago.
30 years ago. All right, so now we're gonna put Mr. Selman on the spot.
Oh, so I get to show my age. It was 1977. I went to a drive-in, and my mom would never. She would always hide all of us in the back of the trunk. We had a 70, I think it was a 67 Impala convertible, and we could all hide in the trunk, and then we could climb through the seats and watch the movie. So she would only pay for one ticket and one car, and then we would all come out, and we got to see Star Wars. New Hope. Of course, then it wasn't New Hope; it was just Star Wars. And I was like, I don't know, like 77. I was 6 years old. And all of a sudden, I got C-3PO and R2-D2 in the mail. When we were at the movie theater, there was a guy there from Toys R Us, and he filled out we filled out the card, and then we were able to get free toys, and I never thought nothing of it afterwards and really didn't think much of it. But when I got C-3PO and R2-D2 in a box, they weren't in the blister packs yet. I was hooked. And, I think I've seen The New Hope that year probably 6 times in the movie theater. And, we didn't have flashlights. And back then we didn't have anything. We had sticks. Sticks were our lightsabers. All the kids in the neighborhood would run around being Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and Ben and beating each other up with sticks. And I started collecting toys. Up until, even today, I've got, we all have extensive collections. But it's the philosophies about the movie that have done wonders, at least for some of my life. I can honestly say it's definitely helped me get through rough times. To me, it's a quintessential. I mean, an Empire Strikes Back came out, and oh my God, everybody lost their minds. Vader is Luke's father. What, we never seen that coming. And then Return of the Jedi. And my birthday is May 21st. May 21st, I sat on, and was in 1983, right? Sat online at Fox Theater. The line went around the movie theater 4 times.
That's crazy.
We sat online from the 21st to the 22nd. When I got in there, Harry's a friend of mine that when I was about 12 years old, somewhere around there, 11, 12 years old. One of my friends, he was an old man. He worked as a custodian in our school, and I worked as a custodian to help him because we couldn't afford lunch. My mom was working one job. My father had left, and so I was working as a custodian in the schools for free lunches. And Harry's wife had got me the poster. It's a trifold poster. It said Revenge of the Jedi. And when you opened it up, it said Revenge of the Jedi. But when you first looked at it, it said the largest grossing box office films of all time. When you open it up, it said Star Wars and then Empire Strikes Back. And when you open it up a third time, it said Revenge of the Jedi coming May 22nd, 1983. And they had taken it down, and they told Lucasfilms that it had been destroyed because Lucas had wanted them back because it wasn't Revenge of the Jedi, because Revenge is not a Jedi thing.
Right.
So it became Return of the Jedi. Yeah, it became Return of the Jedi. And I remember walking out of that movie theater, because my grandmother I used to call Yoda until she found out what Yoda looked like, and that didn't go too well. But they used Betty Davis's eyes to create Yoda, to create the puppet.
Right.
My grandmother had Betty Davis eyes. She didn't find it very funny, and she tried to stab me several times. But eventually she got over it. When she passed away, in the casket, we put, it was loaded with Yoda stuff because everybody called her Yoda.
Right.
Because of me. And like I said, it's been a part of my life from the get-go. I can't picture my life without Star Wars in it.
Well, yeah, 100%. So my defining Star Wars moment was I was 4 years old when Empire came out. And I remember going to the movie theater to see it and laughing hysterically when R2-D2 gets swallowed by the swamp monster on Dagobah and spit out and launched across the swamp. I just remember laughing hysterically at that. It was my greatest moment. I don't remember if I had seen A New Hope at that point, but when you're 4 years old, a movie's a movie, and watching them out of context doesn't really matter to a 4-year-old. So it just grew from there. The excitement came. I mean, Chris, you and I, well, and Forrest to some degrees, we're old enough to remember the Ewoks cartoon, the droids.
Oh yeah,
it's completely horrible, but we had the TV movies, and they finally released that stuff on Disney Plus as their vintage collection.
Yeah.
Which is good, because now my kids get a chance to see some of the stuff that I grew up with.
But they have not released the Christmas special.
No, but it is available. It is available on YouTube.
That is the most horrible thing ever, but it was so awesome because no, you'd like, I don't know if you remember, but like that was before Empire came out, and they had exclusive footage that was going to be used in Empire, and that's how they were billing that. So when the Falcon is ripping through the asteroid belt, that's all them trying to get to Kashyyyk. You know, I don't even think it was Kashyyyk, because it was the celebration of life, right? And didn't they also make a certain reference to that, maybe in Mandalorian, or maybe in the Clone Wars, or maybe in one of those, where they talked about this?
They have made mentions. I think it was in Rebels that they made mentions of Life Day.
Right. I remember they actually going back and like kind of doing a little dig on that.
Yeah.
So that. Yeah. And that was, I mean, B. Arthur and Art Carney in Star Wars. I mean, how bad can you possibly be when you got to bring those people in, you know? But they were more than happy to be a part of it. Or what about Luke Skywalker in Muppets, right?
Right.
You know,
like all that stuff back then, and I mean, like, you can find the actual special on YouTube. They did release the whatever 10 or 15 minute cartoon that appeared in it with Boba Fett.
Yes, that's on. I think that's on Disney, isn't it? In the Legacy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But I mean, a lot of people don't know that Carrie Fisher made George Lucas give her a copy of that just so that she could watch it whenever she was feeling down. Like, she had a copy of that Christmas special just because it was so ridiculous.
Hey, you know, yeah, it was ridiculous. It was fun, but it was like, wow, I can't believe they just made this type of fun.
Right.
You know? Right. But I mean, that's us looking back now. Good.
You know what? I got to go in just a second. Kyber Cave's asking for me, but going back to that cartoon, first of all, I actually enjoyed it the first time I saw it, but one thing about it is undeniable. Anthony Daniels' performance as 3PO, all throughout, especially in that cartoon, Anthony Daniels had control of that microphone, and he nailed it. There was no overacting. There was nothing cringe about him. I mean, he got into 3PO, whether he was in that suit or behind a microphone or whatever. He played it and delivered it. I mean, it was R2. You saw him on the Muppet Show when they brought Mark Hamill on. He was 3PO. I mean, you can't take it from Daniels. He
and I mean,
killed it.
He dealt with some brutal conditions on A New Hope when he first started playing 3PO.
He did,
because the costume didn't fit properly, and it was slipping down, and he had one of the leg pieces break and start digging into his foot, and like, he dealt with some seriously brutal conditions on that first movie, but pulled it off like a champ, right?
He did.
And ever since then, there's no way to replace him.
No.
If you guys are going to be on in a little while, I will pop back in.
Okay, I just want to share something quickly with you before you jump off. Has anybody seen Mark Hamill's Instagram today?
No.
The Lego hand.
So I'm going to share screen. So there you go. Can you see that?
No.
No.
That didn't work then.
Try it again.
So let's go with this one. Can you see that now?
So we see the screen. You just gotta choose the right. Choose the right tab you want to put it in.
Okay. I'll get this figured out.
I'm feeling like it's a story of a lovely lady. Da, 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 da.
Right.
This is
This is not working. All right. I'm sucking at this. But anyways,
so tell us what was on his Instagram post.
it was the Lego hand. It was the Lego hand and with the ESB lightsaber.
You know, that's one thing that when I got into this community, I really had no idea on what was what, you know, like what goes where.
Right.
And, you know, the flex to me is like,
there it is.
the quit it. There it is.
Oh my God! Really?
And the caption for that photo is too soon.
I'm gonna. On that note, I'm gonna go. I'll be back after the thing on Kyber Cave's done. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
All right, sounds good.
Later, Aaron.
He gone.
So I'm kind of digging some pieces out here. So just bear with me.
So are you following the Bad Batch at all?
Yes. Yes. I have a feeling we're gonna see Cad Bane and Boba duking it out.
I hope so.
So that's kind of my thoughts.
And have you watched the most recent episode that came out today?
Yes. No, I didn't watch it today, so don't ruin it for me.
Okay.
I haven't. I forgot today is Friday.
I won't ruin it, but there is another quintessential tie-in to all the other animateds. So
nice.
That's all I'll say. Yeah.
So the Graflex to me is like the quintessential piece because without this, we wouldn't have had the first saber.
Right.
If I come on and I say something obnoxious to people, or at least I try to correct them, it's only because I don't want them to look, because some people will tear them up. But so A New Hope had the button here, right?
Right.
Empire Strikes Back had the button here and here.
Right.
The Ray Saber had the button here and a glass eye here. And then the grips were different.
Right.
Right? They were more like the Empire Strikes Back grips, but they had rivets instead of the screws.
Yeah.
And it also didn't have the stamp. The razor was smooth.
Right.
And it also didn't have the Graflex on this. The ESB had the tape over it, the piece of Mylar, silver Mylar tape.
Right.
And it had the circuit board from the elevator as opposed to the bubble strip, right?
Right.
And then Ray's has got the different one. So we have, a lot of people in the community, they come in and they say, oh, I got this saber and it's in Empire Strikes Back configuration. And if it's got a glass eye, it isn't.
Right.
It's in your configuration, which is fine, or more like Ray's. So if I do that, then I sound like an idiot or it sound like I'm attacking people. I'm not. I'm just correcting them, because if I don't, the people in the Graflex community will, and they freak out, because if you don't have the right screw in the darn thing,
right?
You'll be banished for life.
Well, and I mean that's like the new trigger for everybody is accuracy, right? Like,
Well, I think what's happening is you've got guys that are like Veracity Labs. The Atom is phenomenal when it comes to accuracy, and I mean, I'll use this for an example. This thing is incredible when it comes to the scale and the way it's assembled. The MOM is phenomenal. I mean, it's the quintessential Luke lightsaber.
right.
This will be duplicated, but it'll never be matched. Just by the way its assembly is, and I like I said, I can't wait. This is getting installed, and I can't wait to have the other ones installed so everybody can see the work.
Right.
The Kenobis, the MK1s, what a phenomenal piece, when it comes to accuracy. This is our emitter, which is closer to the Duet, the balance pipe, but it gives you about an inch of blade depth, and it screws on, and it's cold steel. I think accuracy should be there on the cannon hilts, but then we could create different things and do anything that we want to do because, we're love of Star Wars.
Right.
And I think you should be able to do that. And that's one of the things that does kind of aggravate me sometimes in the community when people who create something kind of get, squashed because they created something and it's they didn't get permission from whoever, the saber gods to create something.
Yeah.
That's where I kind of draw the line, because I think the whole idea was this. Remember, like I was saying before, we didn't have lightsabers; we had sticks. When you were growing up, did you have a flashlight? Because I didn't even have that. I remember when it came out.
I had just a basic flashlight. It wasn't even because they did release those early lightsaber flashlights. I can't remember which company brought them out, but I didn't even have that. I just had a plain old flashlight in my basement, and yeah, like turn the lights off, close all the blinds in the basement, just so you can see the beam of light.
Right. And I remember Toys R Us in New York. They never had them in, ever.
Right.
I remember seeing the commercials for them and being like, "Whoa, it's gonna happen!" Metal tube with fluorescent plastic cover. Yeah.
Pretty much.
But that again, like even when Master Replica first came out, I mean, I keep this. This is my first one, right? And I remember when this came out, I thought this was the coolest thing, and it still works too. I got one little dead spot here, but this has been through hell and back.
Well, and that's like me. I've got the Master Replica's Mace Windu, and the blade is starting to dull out, and it's not really the right color, and so I want to get that one torn down and installed.
I have one. The Mace Windu that I have is the first one that I put the Loxan LED in.
Yeah,
that's a purple with the focus point on it. Yeah, the actual chrome is peeling on this. That's how much abuse this thing has been through.
Right.
But I mean, this was to me was a fun saber.
Right. And that's pretty much everybody's introduction to the saber community is either through a Master Replicas or a Force Effects, right?
Yeah.
Because they start with that and they're like, "Oh, this is so cool," and then they start doing research and you start finding companies and and baselit, and then you're like, oh, this is cool, but it needs to be cooler. So then you end up doing NeoPixel, and like it just never stops from there is the problem.
Yeah, and it's like, what do? You sell them, but then the technology changes. It's like an old computer. It's like, even me, like when I first started installing, and I still do this on some hilts. Like if I need blade depth, like we'll go with this Romans. I don't know if you can see it, but we only got about 3 millimeters at the base with the pins. I could
Right.
go with the lighted Stoke PCB on this, but you compromise in blade depth. Even with the lighted one, you still kind of lose a little bit, and a millimeter is a lot when it comes to when you're dealing with only that much blade depth to begin with. And I won't do a lighted one on these because first off, the blade plug is solid, so you can't see lights through it anyway. It's just, to me, there's I guess if you want to call it my mentality and my common sense says, why waste the money on something that's not going to be really pertinent? Yeah, it's cool to have it, but you're also giving up blade depth, and I would rather have a stronger blade. And then you get the people that say, well, you could put a recessed blade in it. And this customer he's like me, he doesn't like recessed blades because then you got to have a specialty blade for one hilt.
Right.
And that doesn't work sometimes.
That's part of the issue with the thin neck sabers, the Return of the Jedi saber and the Obi-Wan and New Hope Revenge of the Sith sabers, is you do have that thin neck with the shallow emitters, so there's not a lot to play with there.
Well, with the Luke, you have on the MOM, you've got a lot.
Yeah,
you can get about an inch. I mean, so when this is installed, and you could see it there, that's got the holder in it. It's not glued in or anything, and it's flush. So the way they did it is you've got a recessed emitter holder.
Right.
That's steel. Then you've got 2 points to lock it down with. That's what I did on that Romans. I had it machined recessed, and then locked it down that way. So you've got a solid piece, and that piece goes all the way down into the base. I mean, it's long. Yeah, so you've got close to an inch of blade depth on this, which means a whole lot.
Which is really decent. Yeah, that's tons. That's like a mile of blade depth.
And then with our chassis, which I wish Chris was on, but he's busy. Right. Adam set the standards, Adam Days, so we followed it with ours, and it's got room for a 21700 battery in it, so that's 5,000 milliamps.
Nice.
So when this locks in, which locks into the control box, your board is accessible from the bottom,
right?
Because you figure this is going to be here. Well, this section unscrews, so you've got there, which gives you access to the SD card and the USB port,
right?
Which comes right to the edge here. Comes literally right to this edge, so you have all access right here. And then there's a speaker pod. So you'll unscrew the bottom half to access your, and so anyway, you'll have the speaker coming in. When it comes to thin necks, it all depends on what you want to do with it. If you're going to duel with it, no, don't use a thin neck. I don't, even with as strong as with 14,000 tensile strength. Saber Foundry, you missed your plug, buddy. But I will talk about you again because I really like this hilt. So that thin neck, Adam says it's 14,000 tensile strength, 14,000 pounds of tensile strength in the neck.
Right.
So that means it'll take a pretty good impact to break that. But you're also dealing with threads.
Right.
And that's where I kind of say yes and no, because sometimes you know a right hit or a wrong hit can start marring up threads internally where they start to stretch, and then you have damage. You might not break it off, but you could do damage.
Well,
The
you
MK
might stretch
Good.
them out too.
That's
stretch out those threads over time.
Yep. Now and I wouldn't say so much the threads of the steel, but the threads where it goes into the aluminum. That would be the weak point. The steel is gonna stay together. But I mean, when you want to put a crystal chamber, if you're putting a crystal chamber in an MOM, and you're spending all that money, do you really want to be swinging that thing around to hit something with?
Right. Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, I mean, I bought this thing with the NeoPixel blade, but am I ever going to duel with it with my kids? No, not a chance in hell.
You know, getting back to the foundry, because he's here. One of the things I really like about the way he did this is he's got this honking piece of brass up in the top of this thing, and it goes together like a piece of jewelry, you know.
Right.
Yes, brass is strong, you know. I mean, the Bronze Age, right? Brass was part of that, because you need brass and copper to make bronze.
Gotcha.
You've got the weight on this thing. I honestly feel that this would be strong enough to duel with, only because of the thickness and the way he braces everything here and here. I think this thing would take a pretty good hit and stay together. With our emitter on an MK1, yeah, I would do medium dueling with it without a doubt, shadow of a doubt. Even with our crystal chamber in it, I would do it.
Right.
With the Rudy Pando crystal chamber, I wouldn't recommend it, because you've got a little bit of sloppiness from where it twists, locks, and slides. I think that would be a weak point. It wouldn't break here at the neck, at the top of it. It would break at the crystal chamber.
Right.
But then again, if you're paying that much money for a crystal chamber, why would you want to do that? And, you know, show and tell is you've got a slide point and a lock. You've got a bottom piece that kind of this threads into the base part of it, right? And so this only has 2 set screws. So this basically is holding this whole thing in place. So a little bit of a, you know, a good hit on this, and it's gonna do some damage.
Right.
I still don't duel on that neck. Tolerance of 2.5, but that's. So what about medium dueling or light dueling? You think it would take that? Let's see.
He has not responded to that one yet. So while we're waiting for him to respond to that, Chris,
what
would you purchase this action figure?
Yes, I would. The infamous Luke's hand.
Right?
That is epic.
It is epic. It's totally epic. Mark Hamill is absolutely hilarious on Instagram. If you don't follow him, you should.
I do. And
oh, dude, he is so funny. Like, he is absolutely hilarious.
He's, you know, one of my favorite Mark Hamill movies, and you're gonna laugh at this one, is Corvette Summer. Like, I absolutely love Corvette Summer. It's the worst movie like on the planet, but it's so, to me, it's like so entertaining because it's, you know, it's so bad it's good. You know, it's like, you know, and that car was just. I had a neighbor that had a Callaway Corvette with the wide sides and the stretched. And it always reminded me of that car, the Corvette summer car. And his acting in it was just horrible. But that's before he messed his face up.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So when we were this may trigger some people, but the other day when you and I were talking, and you were telling me about the back in the 80s with the midget tossing.
Oh yeah.
This popped up on my Instagram. I'll see if it'll. And I nearly died. Nearly died. Like it's literally just like a minute of this guy spitting balls.
Oh my God.
Right?
I just think of Ewoks and Jawas.
Right. Utini complete.
He's got to.
Right.
He hasn't done it yet.
He's the complete guy, so Saber Foundry did respond to that question that you had.
Okay, I got it. So the same thing that I said with the MOM really be. The weak point is going to be the threads, and with brass, yeah, I could see it, breaking, because brass is a little on the brittle side, so that answers it.
Yeah, totally.
So what comes only with the Graflex? What did he say in that one?
Oh, that was in reference to the Luke Skywalker hand action figure.
Oh, it's got to come with the Graflex.
Yeah, it's got to come with the Graflex.
In a back tank, so we can clone them. Right. Because that would have been a better story if they would have did the whole cloning of the hand
for the sequels.
Yeah,
100%.
Dude, I mean, it'd be cool. It'd be cool if we find out that wasn't really Luke. That was like Horace Both or something like that,
Right. You're talking about in Return of the Jedi, or
no? In the sequels with Rey, we find out that Luke wasn't really Luke. That was that psychopath clone Jedi.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Let's go put him on, and do astral projecting, and then we have the infamous slip of the lightsaber. Like I drop it and you pick it up, and you're across like in the next room.
Right.
Like if that was the case, then why didn't we see that all through the Clone Wars? Because that would have been a cool trick. It
would have been. Oh, so here we go. Here's my partner in crime.
What's up, Chris? What's up, Jeff? What's going on?
What's happening?
So we're just gonna give you a big old banner across the bottom of the screen there, buddy.
Nice, thanks.
So for those of you that are in the room, this man previously went by Star Wars Haven 77 on Instagram and Star Wars Haven on YouTube. He is now Ninja Jedi Order, and we are going to be joining forces to do Jedi mind tricks, which is going to be a interview series that we're going to release as a podcast. Chris has got so many stories that we could fill half a dozen episodes with just the real Jakku Junk Trader. There's so much content we could film with just Chris.
I feel bad. It's like I feel like take over sometimes, and it's like,
you know what? It's all good because there's not a lot of people that know who you are and what you do. But those of us who do appreciate everything you do. So now we got another guy jumping on here that a lot of people are gonna know, It is the Blues Bro YouTube.
What up, man?
Hey guys. I don't know if anyone would know me though. I'm the new guy.
Yeah, I've seen you around.
We've all seen you around. You're following, definitely for sure, Mike and myself, which is really appreciated for the support. That's what this community is all about. So for those of you that don't know, what exactly do you do? I'm going to give you center stage for a couple of minutes here and tell us exactly what you do.
Well, in that case, I gotta turn on the whole setup here. How about there we go. Hey guys. Yeah, so I am a newbie to the lightsaber community. I just started watching YouTube videos. My kid just got into Star Wars, and I wanted to get a lightsaber, so I hopped on YouTube to do some research and was just, my mind was blown by what lightsabers are today versus the, Hasbro lightsaber I had back when I was a kid. So I don't know, just started doing a bunch of research and dived into the deep end. I've been following everyone on YouTube, and now someone told me I had to get an Instagram, so I've been there for a couple weeks. Started following you guys, but yeah, man. I just got a couple of baselit sabers from Crimson Dawn. Absolutely fell in love with them. Made a couple videos. People seem to like it. It's got a couple views anyway. Just got my first NeoPixel from Crimson Dawn as well. So I got a couple blade styles set up and downloaded a couple fonts so far. So I'm just baby steps into it. But yeah, man, I haven't met you guys yet. So I figured when you sent me the link here, I'm like, I might as well hop on, say hi, and
Right.
meet you guys.
And that's what we're all about, man. We're all about just hanging out and having a good time and seeing what's going on and just chatting Star Wars, chatting lightsabers. Oh, so I don't know if you've been on any of the live streams, but Liam's on just about every live stream. Cole's on just about every live stream. Darth Eddie's on just about every live stream.
Yeah, Zach invited me to his stream last Friday, and it was so surreal. I was like, first time caller, long time listener. I've been commenting on YouTube streams for the last couple months.
That's cool.
Right. And that's the thing, right? Is it starts out small and you're trying to get information on the community, and it just blows up from there. And I don't know how many. So we're gonna have this scroll across the bottom here for a few minutes if I can get it to do. So this is a kind of an inside joke. Hashtag Liam call your mom.
Oh yeah, Liam. Oh.
So yeah, like we're and I mean Mike and I want to get everything so backwards on StreamYard compared to Instagram. This gentleman here, and Mike and I want to get together with guys. I don't know if anybody caught the guest list that I've got lined up for Mike and I to do interviews with. We have Chris Selman over here. We have Force Effects Saber Sounds, Link from Repulse Collectibles, Dante Saber Designs. I've reached out to Kyberphonic and K-Sith, and they've agreed. Awesome. The big ones, I've got Dave Craswell from Electrum Saber Crafts.
Dave.
And yeah. And then Rob Petcow from Genesis Custom Sabers has agreed to do an interview with us.
Absolutely love his work. He's such a pleasure to talk to.
Right? He's so down to earth.
Yeah. And he's up in your neighborhood. You guys both have the bacon. I mean the ham or whatever. You did that stuff.
Yeah, Canadian bacon.
Yeah. Ham.
Right. Basically ham.
We have,
Yeah.
you know, when people say, "Oh, you're from New York," and I say, "Oh, yeah," and then they go, "Oh, you're from Chicago." The first reaction to anybody from New York to Chicago is, "Oh, you have pie." And Chicago people look at it, "No, we have pizza." "No, it's a pie. You got a top and a bottom. It's a pie." You know,
Right.
pizza's flat. You know, it's like the New York. You know, if you've never been in a subway and had a subway series where it's the Mets and the Yankees,
Right.
if you ever have to ride the train home, and if you're either one of their fans, nobody will kill each other. But man, it's almost like they're gonna. You know, they're on one side of the train, everybody's screaming Yankees, the other one saying Mets, and they just hate each other, but they really don't. It's a love-hate revival. It's kind of like the Canadian bacon thing.
Yeah, man.
Right,
I'm in New
right.
York, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well,
You're in New York? Oh,
and so that's the
I'm
other.
from New
That's
York.
the other guy. That's the other guy that's up here is Jeremy, from Moons.
Oh,
That was
yeah,
in.
right.
He was
yeah.
in the comments earlier. Him and I actually live in the same city.
Oh, wow.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I like
So-
Jeremy.
And Rob Petkow's in Cochrane, which is just outside the Calgary city limits, about 15, 20 minutes. So, so he's actually really close as well. So,
And actually, we're not that far apart either. 3 hours isn't that far.
yeah, just over 3 hours. So, it's
We
crazy.
got to meet up in the park.
It's crazy how many people you get introduced to in this community and realize some of them really aren't that far away. And if it weren't for Star Wars and it weren't for lightsabers, and we never have met. So
Isn't that crazy?
It is. It's totally crazy.
You know, it's amazing the love of the story and the positive reactions from the story is what brings everybody together. You know, you have and the love for the lightsabers for some of the part. You know, I mean, I brought pieces of the Millennium Falcon to the ride, and I wasn't allowed to take any pictures of it when I went in the warehouse. And I was like a 4-year-old again. I mean, I walked in there, and the guy's like, "You don't know what's in this room," and I'm looking at the radar dish to the Falcon, and I'm like, I don't know what's in this room. I know exactly what's in this room. I've built more Millennium Falcon models than I can shake a stick at. I'm like,
Right.
This is a big Millennium Falcon model. And he's like, "Put your phone in the truck." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Put your phone in. You're not allowed to take any pictures." But dude, I was able to walk through. I had the sleeping berths.
Right.
Because when you walk through, they have all the different Falcons that you get into, but you have the main one that was out in front. So I walked into all the sleeping berths. I had 6 sleeping berths and 1 medical area where, you know, Luke had his hand, right? Well, his hand was off, but he had the little thing, the little boot on it. And I had the gantry way to the main Falcon that sits out front. And I will tell you that although the Ray radar dish was there in the warehouse, there is also the round radar dish sitting in the warehouse. So they already had planned at one time that they're going to be changing that out to the round one.
Wow.
So that was and I still haven't gone on the ride yet because right after I was planning it, COVID hit, and then I was stuck. You know, I've been back and forth to Florida, but you know, basically been stuck where I couldn't go, and now they just opened it, and it's 180 degrees down there. So who wants to go to a theme park now? You know, I'll wait till December when you go and go in.
Right. So
No.
now that we've got 2 more guys on here, Mike, I'm going to give you center stage, so you can kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and your defining Star Wars moment.
All right, guys. So for those of who don't know me, I right now mainly review sound fonts, lightsabers, unboxing, things like that. I'm going to start doing some gaming now on Twitch, cool stuff like that. Profi tutorials maybe because I just learned it. Just trying to help everybody out in the community, you know. And I started really this channel with just like Star Wars clips. just like putting on like movie clips. And I was just like, just for fun, and if I ever want to like just like catch up on the movie quick, without watching the whole thing or something. And then I'm like, kind of like Bluesbro was saying, I was just like looking at lightsabers on YouTube, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, this is not Hasbro. And my mind was blown, and just it, and like you were saying, defining moment brings me back to like watching like Empire Strikes Back as a kid, and like like Vader shows up in Bespin, and like Luke takes out the lightsaber, and it's just like, I don't know, just now with the lightsabers, you just like you get brought back to those moments, because they're so realistic, and there's people like Chris, that build these things are like one of the top people to think, and I really appreciate installers, and I appreciate the craft and where it's gone, and I'm lucky to be a part of this community, and that's me.
Cool.
All
right. So now we're gonna put the Blues Bro on center stage, and because we never asked him what his defining Star Wars moment was growing up, and what got him into the whole Star Wars thing.
Man, I don't know if I had a defining moment. I think the first time I saw a lightsaber, back in late 80s, early 90s, I would have been, 5 or 6. I don't know. But my dad's really into cars. I grew up with cars. We're hot rodders, build cars from the 50s and stuff like that. And so sci-fi wasn't really up his alley. But I would hang out with my aunt and uncle before and after school, when they were like at work, because the school was right next to my aunt's house, and she had the Star Wars trilogy on VHS, and so she introduced it to me. And as soon as I saw it, like the first thing I wanted was, a Darth Vader hilt, and I think I got one at KB Toy Store, if you remember that place, the next day. So, that was it for me. And then, I ended up getting a helmet and cape, and I was Darth Vader for Halloween probably like 4 years in a row. But I think where it really sunk in was probably, Phantom Menace, because I was a huge fan. Like at school, when we had to write book reports, I'd go get like Shadows of the Empire or something like that. I wasn't reading, Where the Red Fern Grows or anything like that. I was reading Star Wars books and writing book reports on that. But when the Phantom Menace came out, they were doing ticket giveaways on the radio, and I had called in and answered a trivia question. And keep in mind, I'm like 13, 14 at this time, so I had to be driven down to the radio station to get the tickets. And I said, I'd love to get a couple more tickets so me and my friends could go together. So they had me dress up like Obi-Wan Kenobi and hand out bumper stickers to the radio station saying, "May the point be with you," or whatever the name of the radio station was. And so I got to go to the premiere and have, 4 tickets to bring everyone there. So I went with my youth pastor and my 2 buddies, and, we dressed up and brought lightsabers, and that was like the summer of Star Wars. It was just lightsaber battles and choreography and all that. So that was where it really, took hold, I suppose. But yeah, I don't really have that moment, that I could say that was it. But I had lots of other moments that, put them all together, and it made me a hardcore fan.
Excellent.
Why don't we take a 5-minute break? Smoke if you got it.
Is that you, Mike? Oh no, that's Chris.
Welcome if you got
I kind of find the right Allen key. It's amazing when you clean up your shop, you can't find anything.
So you kind of said that you kind of grew up with the prequels trilogy, as like you'd seen the original trilogy, but you grew up in the generation of the prequels. Looking at all 9 films, 11 films actually, what is your favorite film?
I mean, probably Revenge of the Sith. I like a lot of the movies. I mean, the Lost Jedi is probably the only one where I'm like, come on, guys, what are we doing here? But I mean, even the Phantom Menace, when people complain about that, I'm like, that was a great movie. Like the whole Duel of the Fates, fighting over the fate of what Anakin or Darth Vader might be. Like, I don't understand how people just passed over that moment like that wasn't a big deal. That was a huge deal. That's why you got the chorus going in the music, and so I mean, no, I'd probably say Revenge of the Sith just because yeah, so I'm an Obi-Wan guy. That would be my favorite character. So you know, that last battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan is probably what does it for me.
Yeah, that's
I shouldn't say that last battle. That's second to the last battle.
Right. Well, and I mean, according to rumors from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, it's not going to be the second to last battle. It's going to, apparently there's going to be another confrontation.
Well, yeah, I was kind of reading on that, but it seemed ambiguous enough that it could be stuff from the past, though, not actual Darth Vader in costume combat. Maybe I read that stuff wrong, but I almost don't know how I feel about that. What if they did have Obi-Wan fighting Darth Vader in the whole costume? It almost wreck it. I mean, I'm sure it'd be amazing.
And I imagine that's probably where we're going to go, or where they're going to go with it, because Hayden Christensen is supposed to be putting on the costume, right, for that series. So I imagine we're going to get Obi-Wan versus Vader in some form, to some degree, or maybe we won't. Maybe it'll just be Hayden Christensen ordering Inquisitors to go after Obi-Wan Kenobi. Who knows, right?
Right.
So
could be. I just want to see Ewan McGregor in the Clone Wars battle suit with the red shoulder pads and all that. I think that'd be awesome. I hope they have lots of flashbacks of the Clone Wars. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
I would like to see a lot of flashbacks to the Clone Wars. I would like it to be like an epilogue of where did he turn? Obi-Wan sitting in the desert trying to figure out what happened. Right. This great religion, this great belief, and these I'm not going to say warriors because they're really not warriors, but they're more like Shaolin. Like what brought them down and how did this all happen? Sit there and pondering it and remembering all, the Clone Wars and before the Clone Wars and the things that happened between him and Anakin, and like what would have been so strong to pull him away from the Order to join the Sith. Right. Because you got to remember he only knows a little bit. He only knows his side of it, where he was involved with it. So I wish they would have told the story of the reason why Anakin was so adamant about being a master was so that it can get into the forbidden texts in the archive, because that would make a lot more sense than just his dream.
I want to,
yeah. That to me is would have made a little bit more of a complete story. They're kind of shutting him out. So, because he's having a vision, but he knows those visions are never, ever to come true. So it wouldn't really be something that would make somebody react that way. But now them shutting him out of the library, that makes total sense. Right. What don't they want me to see? What are they afraid of?
Well, and that's exactly it, right? Like there was a lot of things that they probably had that they didn't want to give him access to. I mean, realistically, there's probably stuff that Yoda didn't have access to.
I would imagine so too. Yeah, because or maybe Yoda had shut a lot of people out of having access to him because he felt that it was. But if you remember, like the Tales of the Old Jedi, the Tales of the Old Republic, in the beginning, Jedi was able to use emotions.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't very much off from the Sith, and then they kind of pulled back.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you look at they're releasing a lot of the High Republic stuff now, which took place shortly before the prequels, and Yoda was part of the council in the High Republic. But when you look at the Jedi Council we got in the prequels, it seemed like Mace was kind of in control of that council.
I was just going to say, if anyone's locking them out, who's read the books and locked people out, it's got to be Mace.
Yeah, he looks like he knows stuff.
And that's the thing, right? Is he's a little more emotional, and I mean, I know Samuel L. Jackson got the purple lightsaber just because he asked George Lucas for a purple lightsaber, but but I mean,
that worked out, didn't it?
Well, and yeah, exactly. But there is some rumors that people are saying the reason his lightsaber is purple is kind of the same reason that Revan, after he turns to the dark side and comes back, has a purple lightsaber. It's because he's walking that fine line between the light side and the dark side,
which is why
he's kind of in perfect balance.
That's why I so hope he is an Obi-Wan, and I know you're probably thinking that's crazy, but here's my theory. And what is it, Darth Eternal or Darth Poppy? I think he's going by today. He had a video where he talked about possible Mace Windu coming on to Obi-Wan, and the theory is that when he was thrown out the window and all that, he had channeled into the dark side, facing off with Sidious, decided he didn't like who he was anymore, and he gave up anything having to do with the Jedi. So he's just turned into a hermit. No more sorcery. Just he's gone, and he's not going to participate anymore. And then he's just a normal guy in Obi-Wan, where they happen to run into each other, or he needs something or something. I would just lose my crap if that happens. That would be so cool. I like Mace.
See, and Mike and I have talked about this, and Mike knows what my theory behind Mace Windu popping up in the new extended universe.
Oh, yeah.
If it's going to happen, I feel like we're going to get him in the book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
I would say
that would make a lot of sense with the whole arc of Boba.
Well, yeah, because he watched Mace Windu cut his dad's head off.
Yeah.
Right? So he's going to want revenge, and it would be cool if they took that series and that character and kind of explained his story arc as a bounty hunter, outside of what you see of him in the Clone Wars, and find out that he's taken some of the bounties that he's taken because it coincides with a lead that he has received on the location of where Mace Windu is, so he can get his revenge. Right? And even moving forward into now, right?
That would be epic.
So
if there's one guy he's going to go after, that would have to be Mace.
Right? And Boba Fett being a clone, even though he was unaltered, is smart enough to have made it to where he was, that he's going to multitask and take bounties that will coincide with leads he's following on where Mace Windu is.
That would be epic.
I think that would be stellar.
What would be even... I think they could tie that in with the Kenobi series too, because what if Windu is on Tatooine? What if he decides to hang out on Tatooine? And
right,
and
I mean that's the thing, right? Like when you look at the original trilogy, like oh, Darth Vader killed every Jedi except for 2, which was Obi-Wan and Yoda. And now we've got Ahsoka popping back up. We've got, like, they could pretty much bring anybody back that they wanted to. Like,
Well,
you watched Shakti die in Revenge of the Sith, and then they released the Force Unleashed video game, and
Yeah, I was just gonna say Force
she's a character in that. So clearly, just because they look like they died doesn't mean they actually died. And when you take The Last Jedi and Luke kind of astral projecting to the Battle of Crate, who's to say that's not what happened during Order 66 with some of these Jedi?
That's a great possibility. You know, when you talk about Windu, if you read, you read the book Return of the Jedi, and in the book, Windu's like a total, badass. He goes after the Emperor toe for toe, and the Emperor is taken back because he's so fast, because he's channeling that dark side energy and reverting it back to him. I mean, he didn't even pull his lightsaber out. It was a flash, and then Kid Fistu's head's flying in the air and lands on the table. He lands on his desk, and he cuts through the other Jedi like they're nothing.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And then
scream.
And then we get, but a lot of people don't realize this, but Sidious, if you read the comics, Sidious uses 2 lightsabers.
Yep.
Well,
he has a longer version and a shorter version.
In the Clone Wars.
And he did initially in the Clone Wars. He initially had 2 sabers in the Clone Wars.
Right. I was going to say the scene with Darth Maul, didn't he? And Savage?
Well, yeah, so Savage and Maul were kind of different, being that they both had staffs. They were double-ended. But
no, I mean, didn't Sidious have 2 in that scene?
Yes.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. When he fought them. Yes, right. Sorry, my bad.
Now, is it possible when he fights Yoda, he's using the small one? And I'd have to go back in, actually, because it's really funny, because there's that scene where he was supposed to, when he fights Windu, if the scene where he's got
Graflex,
yeah. And the reason being is because it's supposed to be Anakin that throws him the saber. Anakin comes in, he throws him the. No, they changed the script while they were filming, and they decided no one would ever catch that.
Wow.
We're so bad because we catch everything horribly.
And it's funny because they did that a lot with Revenge of the Sith. Like there's a part in the Obi-Wan Anakin battle on Mustafar at the end where Obi-Wan ends up with his back on the table and he's holding the Graflex.
Yeah.
He's not holding his A New Hope saber. He's got the Graflex. Yeah, that bad boy right there. So I think they just went with it and they had filmed it and they were like, well, there's no point going back and refilming or editing it out. We'll just hope that nobody catches it. But what they didn't
didn't
realize,
expect them nerds to watch it at
and that's exactly
5 frames
it.
a second.
Well, or watch it 50 times,
0.25
times
speed
over the course of your life, and you're like, oh, there's a mistake. So, but it happens. I mean,
there's a guy with a YouTube channel. Like his whole concept is, I watch this movie at 5 frames a second or whatever.
What was his name? Canadian Lad or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Like
I watched the one on the arena battle, and I was just like, it's amazing, all them extras doing the jumps and everything in the background. Some of it's really good, and some of it's like, oh yeah, glad I missed that the first time I saw it.
Right.
There was this one of Anakin with the green lightsaber. I don't know if you saw, it was like an outtake, and he's like swinging it around, and they have the green screen, and you see like Mace Windu and Obi-Wan, whoever, they're like standing ready like to fight. He's swinging it around, and he like loses the lightsaber. Anakin loses his lightsaber, and they're like, oh, cut. Yeah. So,
who's the Twi'lek Jedi? I forget her name.
Ayla Secura.
Ayla Secura.
Yeah.
Watching that in slow motion like ruined that whole character for me. I'm just like, oh my gosh, why did they even give her a lightsaber? She's
Right?
so uncoordinated.
Well, and they've now released the. I know you and I were talking about this, Mike, but they released the initial computer graphics of the death of Barriss Offee from Revenge of the Sith during Order 66. And she has one of those Republic tanks walk up behind her, basically blow her away, and then just to add fuel to the fire, they step on her as they're walking by. And it's like, okay, there's a point where you need to just take it down a notch.
This is a kids show.
They wanted to make sure she was dead.
Right?
You ever
She
saw
had to
those
be dead.
montages? Oh yeah, you ever saw those montages? Like few people make them on YouTube. Like this is the kids show, and then they show like that like Trader. I want to say Traders General Sound Fonts, General Krell. They show like all these crazy things where they're like, this is not only a kids show, like
right?
Yeah,
I know, it's so crazy. So moving forward, what do you think? What do you think we're going to get with the Mandalorian season 3 and how that's going to play out? Because what is it? Pedro Pascal?
Yeah.
He has a commitment to another TV series that kind of coincides with when they'd be filming Mandalorian season 3.
I heard something about voiceovers or possible, like he might be involved somehow. I don't know.
Because I mean, realistically, they can put anybody in the armor and have him do the voice acting.
100%. He can't be there.
Well, they already do, don't they? Already have like 9 people or 6 people that take over. They got one that's a martial artist expert. They got another guy that's he's quick with a draw.
That's why he's I can't take the helmet off. Like, sorry.
That's one thing that I honestly have to say. And as much like I said when I met Harrison Ford, his attitude towards me wasn't exactly chipper, but the fact was, Harrison does his own stunts, and Pedro Pascal, although Game of Thrones was great to watch his head burst like a grape. Right. If you didn't see that scene, I'm sorry if I ruined it for you, but it was pretty epic.
Yeah, the mountain.
I mean, he was like, gone. But he doesn't do any of his own stunts. These guys are all like, they got 100 people in that outfit. Yeah. So he could just do voiceovers. That's it, done.
Yeah,
he could stand off the side of a set and just with a microphone. You don't even have to get in a costume.
Well, even the scenes when he was in the suit, he's still dubbed over. Like, they didn't even use that audio. They would go re-record it in the studio.
Yeah. Well, and you'd have to really, because with the helmet.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Because you're going to get that airiness about it without it being mic'd.
Right.
Yeah, even if they had like a cool helmet, like an effects helmet that did that, they're out there. It wouldn't sound like everyone has a certain sound on the show, and like he would sound off. You would know it's off. Yep. So they have to dub it. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
I think they're saying that we're going to have a lot of Rosario Dawson in this.
Yeah, in Mandalorian.
Yeah,
I thought she was getting her own.
She's getting her own show too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's getting the Ahsoka series. So where do we think that's going to go?
Well, they're going to try to touch on, I thought, the whole end of Rebels, Ezra and all that.
Yeah, I thought she was going to go hunting for Ezra or something.
See it. Did everyone see the end of Rebels?
Or Thrawn.
Well, and that's the thing, because Ezra and Thrawn are on the same ship when they just disappear, basically. So
he's holding them with the... I forgot the name of the creatures, but he telepathically linked to them. And...
Yeah. So, and I mean, that's her appearance in The Mandalorian season 2. She's asking where Thrawn is. So
that's right. She's looking for him. I think she was saying, if you remember in the last few episodes, when they were doing the world between worlds and all that, she's like, I'll find you.
Yeah.
And because he sacrificed himself or whatever. Like they parted ways, and I'm a little fuzzy on it already. It's been a while,
Right.
and it's they parted ways, and then she's like, "I'll find you." So maybe that's what it is. She found out, what he did, and or maybe there's another reason she's looking for him.
What would be really cool is if that chick that's on Gideon's ship, that one that kind of looks like Sabine Wren. I'm wondering if that is Sabine Wren, and eventually
that's the rumor that's circulated, is that she is Sabine Wren.
What?
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember the chick.
She was the second in command.
Yeah. Oh, the three when it was the three of them, the girl, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
She
had the shaved head, kind of almost identical to the way Sabine cuts her hair.
I remember in wait, do I want to say Rebels? Was it Rebels? No, or Clone Wars. I remember Clone Wars when it was like the whole Pre-Vizsla and the whole Darksaber thing, and it was the three of them. I feel like Sabine wasn't part of their. They had always a little trio, a little group. No.
She wasn't. Well, no, you're right. There was three, but when they got into Rebels, it was Sabine. It was Maul that had the Darksaber. She rescues the saber from Maul, and then she gives it to
from the lair.
Bo-Katan.
Mm-hmm.
That's and then when she gives it to right, and when they get it, when eventually Bo-Katan gets it, but now we have to figure out how Gideon got it from Bo-Katan. Was it during the Siege of Mandalore?
That's what people say.
When she fell, her house fell.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
And it would make sense that would be Sabine at the end of Mandalorian season 2, just because she was also trying to work with Ahsoka to try and find Ezra. So, and what better way than for her to do what she knows how to do, which was re-enlist with the Empire.
Right, and infiltrate.
Because she originally, before she joined the crew of the Ghost, was a cadet at the Imperial Academy. So she's got the skills, she's got the know-how. Why not join the Empire and just use it as a way to find information on where Ezra and Thrawn are?
Yeah, if you remember, she developed that technology, a lot of technology for them. But like one of them, at the end of Rebels, they were using, it was I guess like a portable Death Star kind of blast that they were like blasting away troops, and she was very guilty of that. So maybe she wants to be involved now to not only find Ezra, but to destroy that technology. And if we're already going into Rebels, Hera, Hera Syndulla, you never know. I mean, they canon or not canon, they touch on her name a lot.
I agree.
What was it? Squadrons, that game that just came out. They mention her name. They mention her name a lot, and it's like, if you're already going Rebels, and finding Ezra and everybody, Hera, at least like one time even mention her. That would be great.
So I have to quickly interject here. We've got another infamous person joining us. So I'd like to introduce everybody to Link from Repulse Collectibles.
Nice.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, Brandon?
What's up? Is this private or is this live?
This is live, dude. This
hi, live.
100% live.
I'm a little bit late to the. I would have jumped in a lot earlier, man. It's been a busy evening, really busy.
Oh, I know, man.
It's all good. We've been hanging out. We had Fours here earlier.
God, freaking focus.
I don't know. I don't know, Link, if you've ever met the Blues Bro. He is to your right.
Oh, what's up, man? No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, I'm a new guy making some YouTube videos. I like lightsabers.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to get my damn camera to focus.
Oh, good.
I'm sorry.
I just checked out your website this week. Actually, now that I got a Profi board, I'm out there shopping.
Nice, man. I appreciate the support.
So
Always.
he has some very stellar fonts.
Did
And he's very, very humble,
There it is.
and just because it was a long time endeavor, but this man has dropped 30 fonts in the last like month and a half.
Yeah.
No joke.
And
Yeah,
like,
quite a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. He had quite an extensive catalog on his website with his originals collection before, but he added the cinematic collection, which is 20 fonts spanning all 9 movies. You released that back in the end of May, beginning of June, was it?
End of May, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you had just announced, you and Bendu Armory actually just announced your the exclusive Bendu Armory collection, which is
10
another
sound
10
fonts exclusive to Bendu. Yep.
So I mean,
Looking right now. Oh, you got the Dark Mace. Yeah, that's like the next one I'm buying.
Dude,
Yeah.
you saw the video to that?
That's the MFer one, right?
Dude,
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
basically, yeah.
You gotta have that's
is-
like a
I
complete
legit
font
could not
collection.
stop laughing for like 10 minutes. I swear, 10 minutes. I was showing my wife, and she's like, "Why are you laughing?" And I'm like, "You have to hear this."
Yeah.
See, my kid picks up my saber all the time, so I'm so scared.
Yeah, I know.
Gonna get in
I don't know
trouble.
about that.
Yeah,
how old is your
not it's an adult font.
How old is your kid, man?
He's 7.
He's 7. Yeah. So I have a 6-year-old. So same kind of thing. I put on. I have Anakin font with from Kasith when the kids are getting sliced.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah. So the chosen one, and I.
Uh-oh.
Where'd Mike go?
We lost the connection.
So much for that idea.
We lost Mike.
We lost Mike.
He went to kill some younglings.
Oh no.
I'm about to go kill some Yinglings.
Yingling. Yeah.
So now we've got Mr. Aaron Johannen, RoboFrets,
What's up,
Shadow
bud?
Tech Sabers. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all
What's
right. I had a little bit of like a bonfire with some family and friends. So
Nice, man.
yeah, good times.
Nice. Oh, I think we got Mike back.
No Chris yet, huh?
There he is.
Yeah.
There
Mike,
he
we
is.
lost you.
I don't know what happened there, but we lost you, buddy.
That was a censorship. I was talking about stuff like that.
The
Censorship.
YouTube police came to his house and shut
They
down
were
the
like,
stream.
this guy's showing kids like fonts. Yeah, so first time I put that on, it was like on one of my Saber trios. I put regular blaster fonts, whatever it comes with, and that was it. And at least my son knows the part in the movie, so he knows, Master Skywalker. There's too many of them. But this time, when I just got this, some of you may know I just got this Graphite. I loaded on there the version when the kids are getting, when they're getting it. So now I played it the other day, and I didn't know he was in the room, and he's like, "Oh my God, you better return the blaster. You better return the blaster." I'm like, I don't want to get kids. I'm like, no, honestly, I didn't know how they got there. Oh man.
Yeah,
Kids
freaking out. So does that mean that we can refer to your Graflex now as the Youngling Slayer 5000?
Yeah, I mean, I hope not. Speaking of cinematic collection, the chosen one.
It's like I got in trouble. I'm just a Tusken Terminator now.
Right.
Jeff, thank you so much, man, for letting me hang out with you guys for a minute. I totally didn't expect to hop on, but I really appreciate it. But I got to run, man. But thank you so much for letting me hang out with you guys.
It's all good. Thanks for stopping by. And you're more than welcome anytime we have something going on like this on my channel. That you're more than welcome to stop by.
Appreciate that.
Meeting you.
Good to
Thanks,
meet you,
guys.
bro.
Y'all have a great night.
You too. And then there were 5.
And then there were 5.
And then there were 5. So, what is everybody's theories? We've had a lot of like Star Wars TV show discussion that I don't know if Brandon and Aaron had seen. We were talking about the possibility of Mace Windu, which I know is something you really want to see, Link.
Live action Mace would be. I hope they do it. I really do.
Well, and that's one of the things that we were talking about before you jumped on was my theory and my personal opinion is we're going to get him in the book of Boba Fett. And maybe some backstory on Boba Fett using some of his bounties to follow up leads on the location of Mace Windu.
That would be interesting.
And actually have a showdown between the two of them in that live action show.
It wouldn't end well for Boba.
No, probably not.
But they wouldn't just, I don't think they would blow one season of Boba and then kill him off. So
No, but they'd probably bring Samuel L. Jackson in and have some chase scenes, or
they might do with him what they did with Ahsoka in Mando season 2, where Ahsoka just got one episode, but the point of that was to introduce her because she's going to get her own show. So They could introduce Mace and just give him an episode and then give him his own show later.
Right.
That wouldn't hurt my feelings at all.
No.
Yep.
No.
I don't know if they would give Sam a full season. Maybe. Because he's so busy.
Yeah.
It would be a huge paycheck to have him.
It's unlikely for sure. I think it'd probably be better to give him 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah.
But
the book of bad motherfucker. I had to say it. I'll get banned now.
Yeah, YouTube police are coming to your house.
Uh-oh.
Oh, where's my hand, motherfucker? Like something like that.
Right?
Yeah. Or he's like he has a prosthetic and the lightsaber comes out of the prosthetic.
Right. Something that we've never seen before. Something epic like, oh my God.
Boy, the internet would just explode.
Jeff's all quiet. Jeff,
I'm
what
all
are you
quiet
doing?
just because I'm looking stuff up while we're talking about Sam Jackson. This is the beauty of 2 screens. Check out the big brain on Django, Mace Windu.
See, that picture, I don't know, but I think that picture is Photoshop because I see that same, whatever the hell is under his eyes.
I think so.
And then I see that same picture with a bunch of different shirts on it. But it might be him, but what is that shit under his eyes?
This is, just so you know, Link, this is right off of Samuel L. Jackson's verified Instagram account.
So they're all legit pictures, but what's under his eyes all these pictures?
It's an eye mask so that he doesn't look so old.
Shirt.
Huh.
I love
He's wearing them in almost every freaking picture.
You know how your wife does those like face mask things? Maybe she doesn't. I don't know.
No. No, but I think I get what you mean.
And they put that black crap all over their face and then peel it off.
Yeah.
That's what this is. Oh, Cole Weather said those are cosmetics to get rid of bags.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, like this is his Instagram, and he's got all kinds of those Mace Windu shirts on here. So,
well, geez, the man's almost in his 80s, isn't he?
Yeah, he's in his late 70s.
I was gonna say he's way older than people think.
We lost Mike again.
That happens.
I know. Oh, he's back. Oh, he's loading. Oh, there he is. So the potential of us getting Mace Windu, and then Aaron's gone. The potential of us getting Mace Windu in a live action setting is very, very possible.
I would welcome it, man.
Right?
I really wish that Cal Kestis would show up too, but that's probably not likely.
Well, no, it is very possible just because.
Well, he's in that. He's alive in that timeline unless they kill him off.
Well, and not to mention the fact that the actual character of Cal Kestis is a 3D rendering of Cameron Monaghan.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. Is like in this timeline, he would be in his 40s, I think.
Yeah.
So they would have to age him up a little bit, but that could be done with general.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. They could get Cameron Monaghan to do it. That's why I like the idea of if they ever bring, Galen Merrick, Starkiller, to live action, Sam Witwer is still he looks the right age.
And that was the genius of EA with their Force Unleashed games and Jedi Fallen Order, is to make the actors or the characters look like the actors doing the voices.
Exactly. So
that if you want to transfer them into live action,
it's always an option.
It's not a hard sell.
Yeah, that's well, I guess Ahsoka is truly the only exception. I mean, well, no, we're talking video games, not. Ahsoka wasn't video games; she was cartoon. So
no, but even when you're talking animated stuff, some of the characters in the animated series look like their live action counterparts.
Yeah,
like Katie Sackhoff looks like Bo-Katan.
Yeah, that worked. That did work.
Right. She did the voice in the Clone Wars.
Yep.
And then it was just an easy sell to translate her into live action. So.
Well, she did the voice, but then they also use her physique and her face to create Bo-Katan. It's like kind of like Robin Williams and the Genie.
Yeah.
To some degree, yeah, they did. Yeah. And that's kind of where these things really, really succeed is with the fact that you can get characters from an animated show or a video game series, translate them into the live action Star Wars universe, and it's 100% believable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, why not?
So
that would be an epic.
Hey, baby.
Just to have Samuel Jackson in it is epic.
I'm not gonna be on here much longer.
Right.
Okay, you're gonna keep him in the bedroom? Mm-hmm. Okay.
But on that note, guys, I'm gonna go cook some dinner.
Okay.
And I'll be popping in from time to time. Hopefully by the end of this week, maybe next week, we'll have a prototype on that Revan.
Nice.
We'll see what it looks like. I don't know. I'm not giving any promises. The 3D is done. The CAD files are finished, and all he's got to do is pop in some aluminum and make a hilt. So
nice. I know a little something about a prototype right now.
Right.
I might have a little prototype in the works myself.
Yeah, you keep teasing people on Instagram and Facebook, and people are like, "What's going on?"
Well, they'll find out soon enough.
He's always secretive. He never gives out any information, that Link guy. He's always... I'm like throwing stuff out there because I'm afraid of the wrong screw being involved in it and people losing their mind.
I'm like this huge... Like, I take way too much risk, right? Like, for all I know, this prototype I'm cooking up, for all I know, people could be like, meh, and move on. Like... But on the off chance that it's the other way around, it builds more suspense, and I like that. It's fun.
Right.
And here's the beautiful part. This time, see, I did standard issue, but I never had a real prototype for that. I only had a 3D print. And as cool as that saber design is, and I one day would love to do it, I can say that what I'm working on now is not standard issue. It's something completely different.
Right.
So the cool thing is even if nobody is interested whatsoever, I am going to have one, and I'm happy about it. So I'm cool with that.
And that's at the end of the day. If it doesn't work out, at least you have
Oh, I'll have one.
You'll have a custom built saber. So
I sure as hell will.
and I know,
that's,
and I know
Good.
there's a lot of us that follow you and your website and that are really interested to see what you got coming in the future.
Oh yes.
Shit, me too. I don't even know what the hell I'm doing most days. I'm just kind of floating around and trying to figure this all out.
Fine.
Oh, but we're getting there.
You're getting there. I mean,
oh,
you've got it. You've got it.
Look, Chris makes fun of me. Chris makes fun of me for holding back information. You have no idea how bad I want to say something and start showing off pictures and things like that because, whew, man.
I make fun of you because I love you. I wouldn't make fun of you for any other reason.
You really should stop lying to people.
Because you know how much I flame people out when I don't like them, like Veda's Vault. I'm always like getting kicked out of every.
Let's not even turn down that road.
No.
Oh, dude, that road is hysterical. Every time I say, I could say something positive about Alan Johnson, and that dude will come unglued, absolutely unglued. It's epic.
I just nope.
So anyway, I'm thinking of staff on this. I've been debating on it, and
this
I
one's
think
for
a
you,
control
Brandon.
box.
Just the tip, I know, right? I've been known for grips, I guess, rather than tips. Grips, not tips. These grips.
These grips.
Yeah, grips, not tips.
Right.
Interesting.
You're the grips guy.
I did get something in the mail today. Very nice.
Oh, look at that.
Is that what I think it is?
Is that a Bane?
Nope. This is a Bendu Armory Saber.
That is your
that
Bendu
nice.
Obsidian.
I know.
And this is the other one.
Oh, epic.
And tomorrow, these are Profi. They're both Profi. And I also got something else to go with it.
Oh, that's
my
nice.
God, that is sick.
Oh,
So I got a sleeve to go with the two hilts.
that's great.
That is deadly.
So anyway, but what I was going to say is they're both Profi, and I had to get Daryl to help me. They're actually Aaron, Johannan, and Daryl both were helping me out tonight. I worked on it for like 4 hours. So I had to update it, get all the stuff to try to get it going, and I finally got it going. But I've still got a couple of things to tweak, so unfortunately, I can't get the demos out for those fonts until tomorrow. So I'm going to film them tomorrow and get them up. That way they're on the Bendu site and mine. All the Bendu fonts exist on Repulse, but they're not for sale on Repulse. They have a link to go to Bendu site to buy them. It's just to show them in case somebody runs into them and wants to go buy them. There'll be a link to do that. So, but yeah, I've got my Bendu sabers in. Now I just have to get this one that I was working on finalized to where I can actually do the demos tomorrow.
So you were playing around with the Profi today?
Oh, Profi, man.
I know, man.
It's once the final result is there, you're like, okay, but setting it up, Jesus Christ, man.
I know, man. It took me a couple of days there.
Like this is why, as a font maker, I don't mess with configs, dude. This is why I don't do it, because like at least with Profi. But I understand once you have it set up and you kind of know how to swap fonts, like it's not a big deal. But like I'm Yeah, I needed like mad help setting all that up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's the thing about Profi that sucks is just the initial setting everything up and getting your computer prepared for it all.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yeah.
computer does not like Profi. I have to trick it. It doesn't like open source at all. So I got to like kind of like do like sleight of hand work. I go, oh, it's gonna be over here, and then it downloads, and I'm like, woo, because
yeah.
it's not. And I bought a laptop, and I figured, oh, the laptop would be better. No, the laptop's the same way. Too much safety protocol on it, and it's like, nah, we're not gonna have any of that.
No, I
Yeah.
bounced off some stuff off Aaron, and he helped me out. And then I looked up. You guys know BK, Party Foul.
Yeah.
I looked up BK's guide, and BK's guide for like Profi. It was like an hour and a half, but I listened to it because like while I was at work, I was driving around, and it really helped. I mean, like I listened to it, then I watched it one more time, like as I was doing it. Not bad, but then yeah, once you start putting in your blade styles and putting your config together, that's when it gets tricky because it'll work and then it won't work, and then you got to make sure there's no mistakes, you don't leave out a comma, those things.
A comma or a
Yeah.
space or too many spaces
Oh,
or
dude, yeah. I
And
was.
it
If
tells
it
you the
wasn't
line.
for Aaron and Daryl, like they're just nah, man. That sounds like focus.
It is.
So Link, just so everybody in the room that we got nobody watching right now, but
There's nobody there.
anybody that comes back
Nobody
to
there.
watch this, those 10 fonts that Brandon's talking about doing demos for, you can find links on repulsecollectibles.com that will take you to Bendu's site to purchase those.
No. They're up for sale on Bendu's site. Go there first.
Yeah,
I was just saying supplementary. They're also on Repulse to view. You will be able to see them and look at the demos.
Yeah, but you also have them set up as links that'll take you to Bendu as well.
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah. But they are exclusive to Bendu.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's what I was saying. To buy them, you'd have to click the link to go to benduarmory.com.
Yeah. If you're browsing Repulse and then you see those, it's going to send you over there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on that note, guys, I'm gonna go cook some dinner. I'll chat with you guys later. Bye, everybody.
Sounds
appreciate
good.
it.
Take care, Chris.
I gotta figure out how to get off of this
Bye.
thing.
Later.
You got it, man.
And there were 4.
And then there were 4.
I was gonna say
I'm probably gonna have to go soon too. I just wanted to pop in for a little bit. I haven't stopped doing things since I got home from work today.
yeah.
So I'm kind of toast for the evening, man.
Well,
Same
we
here.
got a
I
big-
thought I could get on earlier, and
We got a big stream going tomorrow night, so
Yes, which I will be there.
Channel.
I will be
speaking
there.
of, me and my wife just had sort of like our anniversary this week, and I actually mismatched the day. I'm coming to the stream, but I might be like an hour late or something like that because we have to go to dinner.
Yeah,
So-
no, you're good, man. Hey, your marriage is
Oh,
way
good.
more important.
Yeah. So we're doing. We'll be out of dinner. Like shortly after 9. Hopefully, I'll get on around 10. I hope. So,
Right.
Yeah. On that note, I have to run now, but
Yeah, I gotta bounce.
it's nice chilling with you
Jay.
guys.
Well, I mean, I've been on here for 2.5 hours, so for
Yeah.
my first live stream, I think that's
You're gonna call it?
that's pretty decent.
I think that's awesome.
And we peaked out at like 7 or 8 people watching, which I didn't expect on my first ever.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
All right, man. Well, you gentlemen have a good one. Thanks for letting me come on. And I'll see y'all tomorrow evening.
Of course.
absolutely, we appreciate you dropping by. Thanks, buddy.
Take it
See
easy,
ya.
guys.
Take it easy. I'll see you guys
All
too.
right. So from that guy and this guy,
Yep.
thank you all for watching. Aaron, thank you all for coming by.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it at 2.5 hours here. So I think that's pretty decent.
Totally. It was a blast.
Um,
We had some really cool topics.
Yeah, not as many people as I was hoping. There was a couple of people that had confirmed that they were coming on and didn't show up.
Yeah.
So
Oh, listen,
it is what it is.
life.
we ended up with 6 of us on screen at one time, and we got 4s in here for a bit, and so
Awesome.
met the Blues Bro. So yeah. So all right, guys, we are going off as of now for Ninja Jedi Order, Shadow Tech Sabers, and myself, Jedi Knight Jeff. May the Force be with you. Have yourselves a good night.